My fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. My fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man.
I think Kennedy's speech was important because it made the citizens feel as if they had a say in their freedom and they had to fight for what they believed in. I also think it was important because it also gave detail on the Cold War and how to go about fixing the problems that America had been put into at the time.
Americans of every race and color have died in battle to protect our freedom. Americans of every race and color have worked to build a nation of widening opportunities. Now, our generation of Americans has been called on to continue the unending search for justice within our own borders.
This breach brought civil rights to the people. Lyndon Johnson spoke of reasons that the people, the minorities, the oppressed, should deserve rights, civil rights, equal rights. He states that it is part of the Constitution that all men are created equal. So he believes that discrimination and segregation should not exist. On July 2nd, 1964, Lyndon Johnson signed his bill into a law, sparking new civil rights to go through Congress.
Will take effect at 2400 Greenwich Mean Time, January 27, 1973. The United States and the Democratic Republic of Vietnam express the hope that this agreement will ensure stable peace in Vietnam and contribute to the preservation of lasting peace in Indochina and Southeast Asia. That concludes the formal statement. Throughout the years of negotiations, we have insisted on peace with honor. In my addresses to the nation from this room of January 25th and May 8th, I set forth the goals that we considered essential for peace with honor.
Nixon's speech that ended the war in Vietnam finished a 20-year-long conflict between the United States and South Vietnamese forces against the USSR and North Vietnamese forces, which were communist. Nixon's speech also created peace with honor in Indochina and Eurasia. Many American soldiers and POWs were pulled from Vietnam due to this speech. However, many American forces were lost in the course of the war.
And to consider the opinions of my countrymen and to take counsel with my most valued friends. But these seldom agree, and in the end, the decision is mine. To procrastinate, to agonize, and to wait for a more favorable turn of events that may never come, or more compelling external pressures that may as well be wrong as right.
Gerald Ford's speech on pardoning Richard Nixon is important to American history because it shows how people believe that no man, including the president, could be above the law. Gerald Ford was addressing how he wanted to pardon him because he believed that the former president would not get a fair trial if brought to the court because people would be biased. So he said that he feels that it would be better to pardon him, and it would be better for the country because the long period of debate would be over.
The confidence that we have always had as a people is not simply some romantic dream or a proverb in a dusty book that we read just on the 4th of July. It is the idea which founded our nation and has guided our development as a people. Confidence in the future has supported everything else. Public institutions and private enterprise, our own families, and the very Constitution of the United States.
This was Jimmy Carter on the crisis of confidence. It involved the energy crisis and the oil crisis. It made people lose faith in governments, basically democracy. People were also losing faith for the future of confidence for the first time. The nation has been progressing and now faith has been lost mostly. The oil crisis makes gasoline scarce and hard to get. Confidence is not just a dream but an idea which has founded the nation. The confidence guided the development as people.
There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate.
Ronald Reagan's address at the Brandenburg Gate was a very important speech in history, and his most significant speech. In this speech, he persuades Gorbachev to tear down the Berlin Wall. This brought the East and the West together, which were previously separated. This speech is referred to by many as the beginning of the end of the Cold War and the fall of communism. Ronald Reagan delivers this speech with appeasement and strength.
Kuwait is liberated. Iraq's army is defeated. Our military objectives are met. Kuwait is once more in the hands of Kuwaitis in control of their own destiny. We share in their joy, a joy tempered only by our compassion for their ordeal. Tonight, the Kuwaiti flag once again flies above the capital of a free and sovereign nation, and the American flag flies above our embassy.
The speech is important in history because Kuwait gained back its land from Iraq, which was a turning point in history. It was significant because it marked the end of the Persian Gulf War, and it was a time of pride in our nation because the American troops were brave to stand up for Kuwait. It was a time of joy for America as well as Kuwait.
We bear witness to an extraordinary act in one of history's defining dramas. A drama that began in the time of our ancestors when the word went forth from a sliver of land between the River Jordan and the Mediterranean Sea. That hallowed piece of earth, that land of light and revelation, is the home to the memories and dreams of Jews, Muslims, and Christians throughout the world.
Bill Clinton's speech was so unique in the fact that its time period was actually a place of major conflict due to the fact that this is pretty much right after the Cold War, where America and Russia were so against each other, but they come together in the fact that the Israeli Palestinians actually were in a major war over the Holy Land, which we see a lot throughout history due to the fact that it was Israel and it was quite important. This war, they often took up like the same space and the same amount of land, which they really needed.
Our first priority must always be the security of our nation, and that will be reflected in the budget I send to Congress. My budget supports three great goals for America. We will win this war, we'll protect our homeland, and we will revive our economy. September the 11th brought out the best in America and the best in this Congress, and I join the American people in applauding your unity and resolve.
This speech was so significant in American history because it brought America together as a nation, not as just political parties. And it also was significant because it was discussing revamping the economy and making it more prosperous for a new group of people to join the workforce, because the people in the military were leaving their jobs. So more jobs were given to the American people. It also brought America together to fight the war on terrorism against Osama bin Laden, which was the cause of 9/11.